A report about the economic and social impact of aviation entitled Aviation, the Real World Wide Web early this year showed that despite the global economic meltdown that has affected the aviation industry, air transport has been contributing $10 billion to gross domestic products of Nigeria and other African countries. Observers say despite the large number of passengers traveling through various airports in Nigeria, infrastructure, delays and cancellation of flights remain major challenges facing the sector. To move Nigeria's aviation sector forward, stakeholders in the sector have met to discuss and offer solutions to the challenges of the industry. Some stakeholders also say it is important to hold exhibitions, pageantry like the Mr. and Mrs. Aviation, which will allow industry experts to exchange ideas on way forward for the sector.
We hope that people who have attended can get enough information. One, as an investor, you know what kind of investment opportunities exist and the people to talk to. Sometimes people on the outside don't know beyond a particular profession in the industry. So everything they want, they just go to these people. At the end of this event, we hope that you know the kind of people to talk to when you want to invest in the industry or if you want to invest in the industry. And secondly, we also hope that youths that have attended have enough information on the kind of the career opportunities that exist in the industry, because the industry is so wide and there are so many vacant spaces that exist. So we want to use this avenue to intimate the public on these opportunities that exist so that people know what options to pick from.
There are gaps in the economy, like I said, there are gaps in the industry. Initiatives like this help identify those gaps so we can fill those deficiencies. And once we fill the deficiencies, that would in turn increase GDP.
Government policies should be able to help in terms of giving us enabling environment to set what you need up.
Usually people talk more on policy and how government needs to do this and government needs to do that. What we are trying to do is create a bridge. So there is what the private sector has to do and can do. And many times when you talk about reforms and revolutions and systems, it's usually private sector driven. So when the private sector can have a concise and well-detailed format that the government can look at, I mean, it's a deal that is a win-win for everybody. There is a connection between aviation, healthcare, hotels, tourism. So if we have the stakeholders in these sectors come together, it is difficult for government. I mean, you can give government a deal that will be too hard to say no. So what we are doing differently is not just tackling government. We're also looking at the private sector. What can the private sector do to improve on itself, and what kind of support can they get? One of the things we're also looking at doing in the future is bringing in other investors. We're talking about people like aircraft builders or leasers to be part of this, so the private sector can get better deals than they probably are getting right now. Also, we are also trying to encourage more people to invest in aviation. Many people have money, they just say, okay, let me buy a craft, and they don't even buy the right craft. They buy the wrong craft, they have the wrong crew, they make wrong decisions, and the money gets lost, and then it reduces investors' confidence. So what we're doing is creating a platform whereby you're an investor, you have the money, then you have people who have capacity. And then those two people can come together, for example, and you can make right decisions that will work.
I don't want to put the blame on to the government. I don't want to put the blame on to the authorities. I think it's an industry as a whole, everybody that's involved. You know, passengers, when they travel, they pay taxes. Yes, those taxes get put to good use. You see the airport facilities, you see runways, you see navigational equipment, etc., etc. But what we need to do is to really have the airlines of Nigeria. The best thing that can happen for the airlines is where government allows some subsidies. You know, in other countries, airlines are subsidized in different ways by the government of those countries. Not necessarily just the national carrier of the country or the flag carrier, all airlines that are part and parcel of that country. So to help the aviation industry, it would be a very big plus for the industry if there was more I'm not going to ask for handouts, but more helping the airlines by giving them some relief on taxes, landing, parking, all those type of charges that all add, they're all going to the airline price. And if you just take very quickly, if you go and buy a ticket for 10,000 naira, the airline only gets 6,000 to 6,000 naira, 6,500 naira goes to them. And the other 3,500 goes to taxes for the authorities. So you can sort of see the scenario is that small amount of money doesn't go very far for the airline. But people look at it as a big amount of money. Why must I pay that amount of money? Not understanding that there are taxes that don't come to the airline. Okay.
Our correspondent reports that experts say government needs to put in place policies that will make the aviation sector achieve its potentials.